The neon glow of downtown Chicago used to fill me with ambition. Now, it just felt like a mockery. For 8 years I had believed in Marcus Thorne, my best friend and business partner, pouring every ounce of my genius into building Apex Innovations, a tech empire we launched from my cramped college dorm room. I was the coder, the architect of our flagship product, the Horizon, a revolutionary AI logistics platform. Marcus was the face, the charismatic closer. The betrayal, like all the worst ones, was silent and complete. On the eve of our IPO, Marcus convinced me to sign a new shareholder agreement, citing necessary legal restructuring for the public offering. I trusted him implicitly. A week later, he executed a calculated maneuver, using the new documents to dilute my shares to a non-controlling fraction and locking me out of the company. The board felt your eccentricities would destabilize the IPO, Alex, Marcus had said, leaning back in the plush CEO chair that should have been mine. I offered them the solution. You get a generous severance, and I take Apex public. He didn't just take the company. He took Sarah, the woman I was planning to propose to. She was his new executive assistant, installed in the office before my portrait was even taken down. The severance was a humiliating $10 million, a pittance compared to the $400 million my shares were worth. The subsequent year was a blur of silence and meticulous planning. I moved to a quiet suburb, away from the constant reminder of the Chicago skyline where the Apex headquarters glittered. I didn't seek therapy, I sought data. I was going to design my revenge like a surgical strike, making sure his empire crumbled from within. A ghost in his machine. Phase 1, the Digital Dossier. I used the $10 million to fund my operation. My goal wasn't just to reclaim my fortune. It was to expose the deep rot beneath Marcus's polished exterior. I knew his real weakness. He wasn't a creator. He was a thief. He had been secretly leveraging the Horizon's core proprietary code for side deals with foreign competitors, violating national security protocols and intellectual property laws. I built a phantom entity, Orion Labs, with the sole purpose of gathering irrefutable, untraceable evidence. Utilizing a low-level access key I'd built into the Horizon years ago, a digital failsafe I had never removed, I watched him. I saw the back-channel communications, the encrypted financial transfers, and the evidence that he was not just stealing from me, but systematically defrauding Apex shareholders. The final piece of the puzzle came from Sarah. 3 months after their engagement, she called me, desperate and tearful. He's not the man I thought he was, Alex. He's abusive and he treats me like property. I didn't offer sympathy. I offered a deal. I needed the physical evidence. The hard drives from his private server containing the true, unredacted financial records. Sarah, seeing her own ruin approaching, agreed. Phase 2, the grand opening. Marcus's victory lap was scheduled for the Apex Annual Shareholder Gala, the Apex Ascent, held in the city's highest-floor ballroom, overlooking the skyline that housed my betrayal. This was where the reckoning would take place. I walked into the gala not as a disgraced former co-founder, but as Alex Rourke, CEO of Orion Labs, a mysterious new tech firm rumored to be worth billions. My presence sent a ripple of confusion through the crowd, especially when I was introduced to Marcus. Alex, what a surprise, Marcus sneered, his smile too wide. Enjoying the simple life. More complex than you think, Marcus, I replied, my voice calm. I've been doing some auditing of the market. The room hushed as Marcus stepped up to the podium for his keynote. He spoke of growth, vision, and the future I built. As he launched into his rehearsed speech about the Horizon, I glanced at Sarah, who gave me a subtle nod from the back of the room. The evidence was in place. Phase 3, the hostile override. Mid-speech, the ballroom's lights dimmed. The massive presentation screen behind Marcus, which was displaying the Horizon's logo, flickered. The room gasped as the screen abruptly changed. It was no longer a sales pitch. It was a digital ledger, displaying the encrypted transactions from Marcus's private server. The title flashed in bold red text. Apex Innovations, asset stripping and IP theft. The first slide showed the complete, undeniable history of Marcus's IP theft, detailing the illegal sale of the Horizon's core algorithm to a competitor in Shanghai. The second showed the fraudulent accounting used to hide millions in personal debts and the falsified documents he had used to steal my shares. Marcus stood frozen, his face draining of color. He lunged toward the podium shouting, "It's a hack! It's a fabrication!" But before he could reach the console, a second set of figures appeared, 2 federal agents who moved with practiced efficiency to flank the stage. "Marcus Thorne," one agent stated, his voice booming over the sound system. "The Securities and Exchange Commission is seizing control of this facility. You are under arrest for federal fraud, insider trading, and intellectual property theft." The crowd erupted into a chaotic storm of shouts, flashing phone cameras, and panicked executives. Sarah walked calmly to the front, taking an envelope from her purse. She handed it to the lead federal agent, the complete backup of all the evidence from Marcus's servers. I watched the man who stole my life be led away, his reputation irrevocably shattered, his empire collapsing in a matter of seconds. Later that week, the Apex board, facing a catastrophic crisis, offered me the CEO role. I accepted, but not before negotiating a deal to fully compensate all affected shareholders, including myself, at the original pre-IPO valuation. I renamed the firm Orion Labs. I looked out at the Chicago skyline, no longer seeing a mockery, but a monument to a promise kept. I hope you enjoyed the story. And please give Push a pat for me.